Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Des DeCosta, and I couldn't be more excited to bring you this incredible interview. Today, I have a truly iconic guest joining me, a legend whose music and persona have transcended generations and continue to inspire. With unforgettable hits like YMCA, Macho Man, and In the Navy, Felipe has left a mark on pop culture and music history and continues to share his talents through his solo career. Please welcome Felipe Rose from the world famous Village People.
Des, hello everyone. Woo! Hi.
Yeah. Hi, Felipe. I grew up listening to your music, and I'm so excited to dive into your incredible journey, your music journey, along with your health journey. So let's get right into it.
Yes, absolutely. So great to meet you and happy holidays and happy new year.
Thank you so much, and same to you. Felipe,
Thank you.
you've had such a legendary career with the Village People. How did you first get involved with the group? What was the experience like in the early days? And for those who may know your work but not know you personally, tell us a little bit about your story.
Well, I was a struggling artist, as most of us were in the 70s. And due to my coming out and my mother finding out, very religious woman, that I was gay, was not having it. She didn't like it. And what puzzled me was that growing up as a child, she was a Copacabana dancer, one of the original Copa dancers. She used to have people come after the clubs and party, and there were all kinds of people. They were, I know that some of the women that I could remember visually as a little toddler with the parties going on. I saw women with those real tight haircuts with the pompadour and suits. Sort of confusing to me. Is that a woman? And but being that show business, you get all kinds of people. I'm like, okay, so I grew up with a musical background and through her, but then when the time arrived that she found out that my yearning to be gay was something that she wasn't really prepared for and didn't handle it really well. So, you have to leave. You can't do this in this house. So, many of us got kicked out of our homes, which is one of the beautiful things about our LGBTQIA community is that in my situation, I was 18, 17, going on 18. So what do you do from Brooklyn, New York? What do? You cross over the bridge to Manhattan. And I remember watching on the news the Stonewall riots. I was really gravitated to that on the news. And I wanted to get to the village. And I went with some friends on the train and looked around and just saw the different types of people or bohemian and and I even took her one day to the village. She was like, "Why are you bringing me here?" I'm like, "Well, this is where I like to hang out." She was like, "I'm not liking it." So that being said, I then auditioned and got a scholarship for a dance company. And so in the dance company, I felt that there was more. Perfect example. I was not only taking jazz, ballet, flamenco, and tap, but with the flamenco, the teacher said there's too much of this, Felipe. You have to stay with everyone together. Five, six, seven, eight. I would just do the extra. And she said, you can't stay in this class. You have to go off on your own. So how could I then in New York be a dancer and professional? My dream was to be on Broadway. And so how am I going to look different if there are dancers going to auditions and whatever? We walk like ducks. We wear leotards under our clothes and jeans, and on the back the knapsack. So it was like you could see a dancer coming down the street by the way they walk with their legs. They turn out. It's called a turnout, the ballet turnout. And I found that I was pretty much blending in with everything else. So I needed to find how can I stand out. So because my hair was long, like yours, long, and being biracial with my dad, my adopted dad, American Indian, and my mother, Puerto Rican and Italian, um, I decided let me tap into biracial roots, and let me celebrate that part of the lifestyle of the heritage, the Native American, Indian, indigenous, because you're also an indigenous uh, uh, person. And so I was then hired, started walking through the village, dressed in all my native gear, hair braided, and then started getting gigs, dancing. And disco was now starting to be, it was really not even mainstream yet. And so there was this one fateful night, as I recall, that this producer approached me and introduced himself to me as the Jacques Morale. He was a producer, and it's like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning or something like that. And I listened, okay. And I thought I knew everything. I'm like, oh, please. He says he's a producer. I told a DJ friend of mine. He says, oh, he really is. Here, go dance to this song. So I waited for my cue. Well, there was a dance. I was dancing at the Notorious Anvil. And the Anvil was like this uber high-end sex bar. But they needed dancers to just be there visually. So they hired me on a New Year's night, and I appeared with headdress and oily and to make it look like I was wet, oil and the loincloth and beads and the moccasins with the sleigh bells. He heard the sound first, and he asked a friend, "What is that sound I'm hearing?" He goes, "Oh, that's that guy over there dancing. He's got sleigh bells on." And right there's when he approached me and told me that he was a producer. So I danced to the song Quiet Village, and everyone used to like stop because, between the war call that I would do, everything, the whole package was complete. He gets the idea that he tells me, "Here's my phone number. Call me. I want to do something with you," with his accent French. And I looked at him and I said, "Doesn't everybody?" And because I thought I knew it all. So I go to this office and well, he said, and then I did contact him. And then he said, "I want you to come and do percussion on sleigh bells for the new album I'm producing." Had no name yet. I think he called it Village People, but I'm not quite sure. But I go and I told him that I needed to make sure that there were pillows on the floor because if he's going to record the sound, they were going to record the sound. They had to bring the microphones on the circle around all these pillows so that I would walk in and place myself on the bells with the bells on the pillow to only record the sound of the sleigh bells. And that was incorporated. And then on a break, while they were mixing, I started singing the chorus of one of the songs. He said, "Oh, you sing too?" I said, "Yes, I sing." He said, "Well, sing along and I'll record you." So then a month goes by, I hear nothing. And then he calls me again and says, "You must come to this office on the east side to meet my partner, my partner who's an executive producer, the money guy." And he said, I show up and he said that we want to do something much bigger. We want to put a group together and we want you to be the center in the focus. And I said, "Okay, well, what is it?" So they opened this book and there they were drawn. I was drawn in pencil, and some cowboy construction worker, uh, biker, not fully fleshed the rest of the characters. So I looked down and I said, "What is this?" He said, "It is the new group that you're going to be in. It's called the Village People." And I looked at them side to side. I said, "This really sucks, this idea." Goes to show you, you don't know everything. So, okay, through auditions, we did the um, filled, the cast of characters, and the rest is history. YMCA also was a filler song. They needed one more song on the third album. And I basically thought, being in show business, that this project's just going to be like every other thing. You step a stepping stone to the next one, to the next one.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, I was at the right place at the right time. Let's see how long this will last. Well, 40 years later, it was time to say goodbye. I was like, wow. I went to Australia 39 times. That's our biggest audience. And the number one country they love is like, in fact, they're 18 hours ahead. So already it's New Year's Eve day over there,
Yeah.
18 hours ahead. Or so what they do is that they put on Channel 9, which when the movie that we made, we debuted it there in 1980 in Australia, and the premieres, the movie premieres were huge, very Hollywood, red carpet dancing everywhere and all that. And ever since the opening of that film, every New Year's Eve, they play on Channel 9, but they just recently added Xanadu Olivia Newton-John because she was Australian and we lost her to cancer. So they play at 8 o'clock Xanadu, then something else, and then Can't Stop the Music, the film that we were in with Valerie Prime, Bruce Jenner. Who's Caitlyn Jenner today? Go figure that. And Steve Gutenberg. And then they go right to the Harbor Bridge for the fireworks every year. And they're getting ready to do that tonight. Well, our tomorrow night,
Uh-huh.
excuse me, our tomorrow night is when we see Australia kicks in first, right?
Because
It
they're
starts in
pretty
the
much a day ahead.
afternoon and it works its way around the world. Singapore, Hawaii gets it last, right?
I believe so. Yeah, we are
Because it
last.
goes over
Last
across the U.S. and then over to Hawaii.
Right.
So
Wow.
yes,
So that's crazy.
so
What perfect timing then with the holiday New Year's just right around the
yeah.
corner for us. And that being a milestone pretty much in your story. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And so, I've been blessed that I had a really wonderful career.
Mhm.
Didn't end so good, but there were other members I put in. There were replacements, but I was wise enough at a early age to, invest and put money away. I own my, real estate, so I'm comfortable and I'm having a blast. And then the pandemic came, the lockdown. So living alone with my two cats, what do you do? Down the block around the corner in the strip mall is the liquor store, and they know me. So they would say, we close early, but if you want your order, we'll deliver it to you. They were dropping off Des, and I'm not lying to you. A case of Malbec wine every week and a bottle of tequila to do shots on the side. And I started
Yeah.
baking and eating, and occasionally some friends would come by with their mask, and we do six. We had our little pods of people that we could hang out with, and
Yeah.
all that. And I started drinking a lot. And
Mhm.
then when we started coming out in 21, that
Right.
spring coming out, the summer, where we still had to do 6 feet apart distancing. That's when friends noticed, Felipe, your face, you have jowls. And I was like, you gained a lot of weight. But the thing is that nobody was complaining. Nobody was complaining because everyone gained weight.
Right.
So so then I ran into a friend of mine, and we were talking on the beach. Um, then I tried to fight the weight off in 22 and in 23, and wasn't working.
Yeah.
Going to the gym, and I was still eating and craving, and still I tried to drop the drinking as much as I could. And this is where being a social animal in show business, you easily gravitate to a drink. It's
Hmm.
just because it's part of the lifestyle, I guess, you
Yeah,
know.
sure. And there's
And
so
so,
many things as far as the different facets of being an artist that I'm sure you face that are different from, somebody else who's not an artist. And so I guess let's dive into some of the health struggles and the story there then. And at that point in time, so we were talking right around COVID time, right? Can you tell us about what led to those struggles in particular and how they affected your life and career after you started realizing, okay, hey, I may not have really focused on my health as much as I'd like to during this time.
I didn't. And I realized that when I retired in 2017, I wasn't really performing as much as I was when I was with the group. The suitcase was always by the door. I would take off 2 weeks in August, and we would stop work the 22nd or the 21st, but to report back by the 27th for always a New Year's Eve show. So with that constant go, 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 I had my weight was pretty much under control. Like, I would look at myself like, oh, I gotta get to the gym today to tighten up. But when I wasn't performing anymore, that's when I was struggling with losing the weight at the gym, and I plateaued a few times and decided to go vegan, and that wasn't working. Tried different diets, and it wasn't until a friend of mine, she said, well, I'm on this program. I'm with LifeRx. And I think this would be really good for you, Felipe, especially if you really feel that your drinking is still out of control, and you also want to improve the way you live to totally, but in order to get on this program, you have to completely regiment and change your whole life in the way you sleep, what you do when you get up throughout the day, what your intake is of food and water, and then you will notice, and I think you're a good candidate. So she introduced me to Noah. And then Noah and I talked for a few weeks, and I thought about it. And then I let a couple of months go by. And then last summer, I was fed up. I was jealous. I wanted to get into my bikini with all the guys on the beach, my little tight trunks. And that's when I contacted him. So
Mhm.
we started in August.
Okay. I would love to elaborate more on that, the maybe mental challenges and at your lowest point in terms of health, what were the biggest challenges you faced on a daily basis? How did you feel physically and mentally? Can you get a little bit more granular for us?
Yes, I was of course, the sleeping was the worst because I couldn't sleep at night because either I slept during the day, and because of the lockdown, my sleeping habits then changed drastically. So, I do remember that a lot of times I was up all night and I would sleep during the day because there was nowhere else to go. But coming out of that, I started falling into depression because I wasn't happy how I was feeling. I wanted to get back into the studio, did so, recorded a single, released it in 2021. It's on YouTube. It's called Dance Again. And it was basically the story of the lockdown, how it was to me and what it was about. And the reason that the clubs were closed, nobody was dancing, is the the process of the storyline of the song. Let's all dance again. And so when I got out to promote the song, ooh, that's when I realized that people were just kind of looking at me because I had a belly. You can't be on stage and you have to look trim if you want people to really take notice of you, and being trim and being slim and looking good, but not go out there because then I started to really feel like, okay, I'm now looking my age. I know that I'm not young, but I don't look fit. It's one thing to define age when you're fit and healthy. And I wasn't any of that. And the GLP-1 with LifeX and the series of doctors that I was able to go on the chat and chat. I would go online, ask a question, somebody will pop up, Dr. So and so, and there's a huge team. Well, I'm I'm having a problem when I feel like I'm not really eating the way I used to. Now I only eat a handful of food. And they were basically saying, well, that's really what we should be eating. We eat on platefuls of, now today I see also most people that are also watching what they eat. I see people split entrees because this country, we overeat.
Mm-hmm.
we
Yeah.
also throw so much food out. We dispose of so much food. So the wonderful thing was then I started noticing that Labor Day weekend, once I got on it in August of last year, that Labor Day weekend, I'm still feeling that ticky tock in my head. Oh, you're out socially, you can have maybe one drink or two. And I took that drink and it just hit me. It sat here. It didn't go anywhere. And I said, I can't do this. And
Yeah.
that's when I stopped the drinking. And now what I drink is this polar water infused. It's called Orange Drive. You pour it in a glass with ice. I put a metal straw in, and I pretend that it's a cocktail. So, like I went out yesterday to an afternoon disco dance that I was hosting, and a friend brought me, songwriter friend of mine, would you like a drink? And I said, I'll have a Moscow Mule. Tell the bartenders for me, because they know in the last year to bring the alcohol level down.
Right.
Splash it, not
Great.
splashing.
So, yeah, so not only does it curb your appetite for food, it seems to curb your habits as far as drinking and maybe other habits as well, and that's amazing.
And eating sweets.
And eating sweets, yeah.
I cut that completely out.
I would imagine being an artist, you get invited to a lot of social events that are, maybe driven by alcohol. Alcohol is present. And I don't think many people realize the toll that a busy lifestyle like yours takes on your health. And how do you feel like your schedule and maybe social influences contributed to some of the health issues and habits? And then circle that back to how LifeRx kind of helped curb all of those.
Well, I can tell you that I would immediately, if invited to a dinner, or a party or something, I would just say to the host, listen, I'm on a weight loss program. And then right now, it's a experimental situation. I want to see where it takes me and where I go. So please, don't feel offended if I don't eat your food or drink. And they were like, okay, it's okay. And then I started realizing that I could control, I could control the urge to drink or not drink, or that dessert looks good, but I think I'm gonna have some like grapes, white seedless grapes, or cut up a nice big orange in slices and eat it cold. So instead of the sweets, I then change that to fruit after a dinner or a small piece of chocolate. I have these like fudge, not fudge, yeah, double dark fudge chocolate. They come six in a thing, and they're in the freezer. So when I want, and it's been there for a month, but I'll take one, and that put up, and I put that on a plate, and I really take a fork in and and I cut it down like piece by piece, where I could just throw it in my mouth and eat it. But I laugh because in my head, I know I'm eating chocolate, but I know I might want three or four more. The old Felipe would have taken three or four more of those. And that's where I know that it's helping me curb my appetite. I sleep better and I get up with purpose now, with more energy. I've got to work out. Mondays, I do interviews with my manager or meetings, emails, and texts and pay bills. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I do the gym. And then on the weekends or whatever, aerobic. But if it's constantly, I keep my head busy, moving. Um, Also, it's helped me tone down, tone down a lot of things in my pacing, in the way I used to rush to get things done. Now I'm at a very nice pace where I can think things out and go, why am I doing this? And I question myself. Okay, you know what? I feel sluggish. Let me have more water. I've cut the sugar down in my coffee as well to just Splenda,
Yeah.
which is, not real sugar. It's from sugar cane. Um,
Okay. Well, what would you say was the most challenging part of your transformation process, and how did LifeRx help you overcome that?
The most challenging thing was um, I started to realize, okay, you're not eating because your GLP-1 is cutting your appetite. So once again, Noah, I get on the phone, I text him. I'm not eating, I'm really concerned. Like I can go a whole day. I drink a lot of water, I'll eat a piece of fruit. He said, boil a couple of hard-boiled eggs and just keep them in the refrigerator. And then have a few of those during the day's protein. Keep your protein intake more or throughout the day so that you don't walk around with a hollow stomach and that feeling like I know I should eat, but I'm not hungry. Because also, not eating doesn't help your body function.
Right.
So I would eat either my oatmeal, fruit, or my hard-boiled eggs, a piece of toast, my coffee, my juice. Then in the day, a little snack, some cheese. Like I'll come back from the gym, but it's too early to eat at dinner. So I'll cut up an apple and a couple of slices of cheese. And then I eat that and drink with my water, and then I'm ready for dinner. And again, the dinner, I love baking, by the way. I've also toned down on that. But a lot of the things that I felt I was doing was food driven, pretty much with everything, because the one thing that's really bad about show business, and I'm sure many singers and entertainers know what I'm talking about. Especially if you're an entertainer, singer, we'll do a show, but then we got to go eat after the show. But what time is the show over? Well, we go on at 8. So either do we eat before? So the group, we couldn't eat a meal because we had to jump around and dance and sing. So deliver the meals after the show is over. And then a lot of times we would also, oh, just pack my meal, which is part of the rider. So then we would take the food back to the hotel. Now it's 11 or 12. And then in Paris or in Europe, you eat late there. Barcelona, you eat at 11 o'clock at night.
Hmm.
So, people, that's the culture. They sleep, they eat throughout the day, but then their dinner is late. So I found myself, okay, how do I push back? And so Noah suggested, and a few other friends suggested, do intermittent eating, intermittent, meaning the first meal you have, make sure that at that time, that at the end of the day, you don't pass that time to make it your last meal. So say if I eat breakfast at 9 and I'll have my snacks and water intake during the day, at night, I'll make sure that I don't eat past 9 o'clock. So eat the last meal. So the intermittent that curved a lot of the eating. And now I mentally I'm more aware of how I buy food and the food that I'm going to buy. Um, because one thing during the lockdown, I was always, because I was like, I don't know, we were buying a lot of toilet paper and a lot of gloves and face masks, but we also piling up on food, making sure that we had enough, and so that I had to make sure, okay, stick to the list because you see everything. I see everything that, oh, was good for me, but now I want it, but now I'm not going to eat it. So I was buying food and not eating it because my appetite was suppressed. So that also helped me, uh, monitor my shopping list to a more healthier fruits, vegetables, salmon, chicken, and to ground myself, you know, once every other month, a nice big steak, but I always split it, and it's just the taste,
Right.
just the
Just
taste of
having
it.
that every once in a while to treat yourself, even in fact, right?
But I think that we're ingrained. What I found through LifeRx, we're ingrained with the messages that uh, the visual and the things that we hear and the things that we see on, either online, on television, in magazines. Oh, that looks good. Oh, that I should buy that. I should wear that. So we are a society that we have to constantly buy, take. So LifeRx, I'm not saying that it changed everything that I was doing wrong, but it also helped me shop wiser for what am I now putting into my body, because it's very important for me. In August of this year, July, I came back from a trip, and I was in Palm Springs celebrating my 70th birthday. And and I came back from the trip, and I like had muscle spasm on my back. So I went to my primary doctor. He said, "Well, you should go to your chiropractor." I went to the chiropractor, and he worked on it for 3 weeks, but the pain then started shifting. So I went and called a neurologist. I made an appointment, and the results came back nothing. Now the pain, now we're approaching July of this year. All of a sudden, I started feeling loss of feeling on the arm and the left side of my leg. Like I couldn't get out the car to pick up my leg. So this feeling, which I was calling episodes, would surpass every few 20, 15 minutes. So I had another second opinion. And the neurologist came back with the result that you have to go to emergency surgery today, like tonight. Why? Because, and I was getting ready to officiate a wedding. I'm going to California. No, I'm not. He said, "You're not doing any wedding." I got to the hospital. Why am I going? He said, "You have a clogged carotid artery. It was stopping oxygen from going to my brain and blood." And that was the loss of feeling. And what we determined was I was having, they were called mini strokes. So while I was doing this whole health journey and all that, the one thing that my doctor forgot to check is let's check the cholesterol. And I thought he was doing that. He was reading the panels, and he said, "I didn't think to get your arteries, because you're a man of a certain age, to check your arteries on your legs and your neck to make sure that everything's good." So I have a state of the art stent, um, and I was weighing 186, and that was great. I didn't want to go below that. Um, and then when I got out of the hospital, all these doctors post-visit appointments, it was hard to get back into the gym with all these doctors visit. Then I had dental work to do to make sure that I got that done by the end of the year before the dental thing expires. And so what I found out was that, okay, I think I'm gaining my weight again. So now I went up, but now I'm in the hospital. I was 186 when I got out of the hospital, and 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I had my final physical of the year, and I was 196. But I now weigh myself, and I'm now 192. So I'm gonna go back to the 186 because it looks healthy. I don't look emaciated, you know. And I see when people are losing weight drastically, you can see it. They have a gaunt look. It's not healthy.
Right. Yeah, there is
Whereas
a
with
fine line between
and whereas yeah,
healthy and what is for your person. Everybody's different. And that's the thing about LifeRx too, is that it's all very personalized plans. I love your testimony. I love how you elaborated on having your relationship with food really transformed. And so, I just want to know now today, how do you feel physically and mentally?
well, I'll tell you, I've never felt better in my life. There was always all this other stuff, res residual. I call it because I'm writing my memoir and my book, and there are some things you have to visit, and they're not some are good, not all. Some things are not great to like. Okay, and relive or remember. Um, but then I found myself that because I started doing the book the year before last, but then I lost my dad last August, so I fell out of the book, depression, and mourning him and all that. But then I started tapping back into the book, and in doing so, being on life, I think clearer, more clearer now. So all that residual stuff, because in show business, as I said, we eat at all hours of the night. We end up with a drink in our hands. Now, if people want a selfie, if they see me publicly, I say, well, can we take the selfie, but can we all put our drinks down? Because my new manager actually said, do me a favor, when you're taking selfies with people, make sure you don't have a drink in your hand. I want you to not have that. All your pictures I've seen on social media, you had a cocktail before and it's easily to fall into that because, you're celebrated and you want to make your friends and your fans and your family happy. Like, I just got 3 bottles of liquor for Christmas. Like, I'm going to send a little thank you notes to my cousins and say, P.S. You do know I stopped drinking, right? So I'll hold on to them and I'll regift as a gift. I'll regift them.
Yeah. Wow. No,
I'm
I
looking at
think,
the bag and I'm going, oh, okay. For
yeah.
me? No.
Well, you have made such an influence in music, and now I think with your testimony and people publicly knowing that, you have stopped drinking or curbed that and have begun on more healthier habits, you are also influencing the culture in a different way now, in a health movement, I would say as well. I would love to know what advice would you give others who are struggling with their health and looking to make a change?
Well, I would say first of all to please go on LifeRx on the website and just read everything and know that there are professionals that instantly, if you go on the chat room, somebody will pop up or you ask a question. Then the other thing was that I wanted to be able to be healthier, because the way I was living, I wasn't happy. And now I'm happy just to be happy, and it's a great feeling. But I also made sure that rather than broadcast what I was doing, I said, I'm going to do this and let's see what my result is in a year. And here is what I'm talking about. These are a pair of shorts. So I found these because I was throwing stuff in a big hefty bag, stuff that I'm going to donate. And I found these shorts. Let me move the chair out the way. So these shorts, this was me. Here's the seam, the middle. So that's another leg there. So here. So that used to be me over here. Okay. This jacket, I purchased this jacket for a big wedding. And okay, it's a beautiful, you see it, jacket, shawl collar, one button. Okay. That was me right after the pandemic. This is me now. Half of me is gone. I can even see my booty now.
Felipe,
But
I
is this
muted my,
amazing? This jacket is not cheap. This
that is
jacket is, it looks like a wedding,
fantastic.
it looks like a wedding gown, this jacket.
Right. No, that's amazing. But you know what? That is incredible. I muted my audio just so that the LifeRx team could fully capture that clip if they wanted to, and I didn't want to interrupt you.
I have
But
pictures that are videos that I sent.
you really just did the big reveal. Congratulations. I
Thank
swear.
you.
That's amazing. And okay, so how much time did it take for you to get from there to here?
I'm gonna say, um, when I remember calling Noah around the holidays last year. No, it was this year. Noah, I feel like I was doing 70 millimeters, milligrams. Anyway, it's a
Yeah.
number that's 10, 20. And he said, well, lower
Uh-huh.
it. If you find a 70, because I found myself jittery when I was doing a large dosage.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
said, lower it. Lower it to 50 or 30. And I did that. I was able to really now, okay, now I don't feel nauseous. Um, um, and so with my situation, I skip a week. So I do like if I do a shot today, I'll do another shot next Monday.
Mm.
Because
Okay.
I feel that I want to keep what I'm doing, but not to gain to the weight too fast. But again, I just want to stress to everyone that it's not, you don't even have to be in show business to be healthy. You just have to be healthy for like my nephew and nieces, you know, and the little ones, they're like 9 and 10 years old. And I want to be around for them because they love me to pieces. So I want to be around for them I'm single, I'm not a father, but I have my nephews and nieces and cousins, and they're having babies. So I want to be around to see them get older. Um, the thing is that I love where I am because I can see it, and when I look in the mirror, I can see the smile on my face. I can see my face, not this. And um, by not advertising it on social media, because I wanted to, if I would have done so, and I really believe that if I would have done it that way, and then there would have been no results, it would be like, Felipe, what are you doing? You broadcast. Now it's a year later and you're not doing anything. So it was better for me to stick to it, put the journey together, put the whole program together, and write everything out, the fruits, the vegetables, the working out, the water, also have a sense of community. So, I am able to be around other people that are also watching their weight and eating healthier. Um, and that's the thing is that I just wasn't eating up until the lockdown. I was eating everything and anything.
Hmm.
And I'm happy to say that I don't need all that food like that, you know, um, to eat because either, oh, I'm depressed, I don't feel so good today. I'm gonna gravitate to food, which is what I was doing, you know. And so a lot of all that old residual from the road, all those many years of eating late at night, drinking before a show, because I could never eat a meal or drink before a show because you gotta work, you have to concentrate. But those late nights would literally not it was not healthy. It was not good for me. Um, so I'm really happy that through LifeRx, I was able to also speak to someone about the working out, how often I should do it. And they would basically say, well, start with all your cardio first when you first start. This way, you're applying regiment working out while you're doing your GLP-1 with LifeRx, and then together with a balanced meal, fruits and vegetables, I was able to really create, well, it works for me. But that's the testament right there,
Hmm.
is that, I mean, now when I step out and I'll throw on a jacket and I'll go like, whoa, wow, you look great. How old are you again? And the,
I did
the
the
other
same thing when we just turned on our cameras.
The
Yes.
only reason why I say that is because the group dates me. Because people they're aware that the music was a long time ago. But when they see when they see me, they go, "How old are you again?" And also I stopped dyeing my hair because that was last Labor Day weekend too. The girl that cuts my hair, she swung my chair around and said, "Now, I'm not giving you a mirror to look at the back and see how you did, how I did, your cut, your fade. Um, I want you to stop dyeing your hair. Stop dyeing your hair." And I kind of looked at her like, what do you mean? She said, I was dyeing it dark brown. You look like a Las Vegas lounge singer.
Oh no.
I said, well, what do I do? She said, just buy this blue bottle, this blue shampoo. It'll
Mhm.
strip all the color and it'll bring out your grays and make it shiny like a nickel. You know, in fact, it looks kind of bluish because I did the shampoo an hour ago and that'll fade tomorrow, but then it's silver. Um,
I
So
love it. You look
yeah,
fantastic, Felipe. Yeah.
thank you. And again, I just can't. I knew that I was watching other friends do Ozempic, were doing other things with other drug weight loss programs. And saw some people successfully take care of the way they look before and after, but then I see that and realize that after that they had to have some type of surgery to tighten up the skin. But that's if you don't get to the gym to keep that body tight, then you can't let skin sag. So to me, that's not being successfully losing weight. It's not a, you know. But again, my journey, it is only, well, I modified it and wrote it out for me because it works for me, for a man of my age, for a person of my age.
I love how multifaceted the steps that LifeRx gave you in all areas of your life. And even if you didn't have the answer to something, you were able to reach out to them and you get an immediate response as to how you could conduct yourself. If you had cravings, if you felt nauseated, what should I do? Am I eating too much? Am I eating too little? So I love that about the program. And so I just want to thank you so much, Felipe, for joining me today and sharing your incredible journey and insights. It's been an absolute honor to have you and your
Oh,
contributions to music and culture, and now, the culture of health as well, continue to inspire so many. And we're so grateful for the stories and the wisdom that you shared. So thank you so much,
well,
Felipe.
thank you. And I want to thank my friend Jamie for introducing me to LifeRx and our discussions on the beach. She said, but Felipe, it's not that easy. You have to make sure that you're not going to crave all the things that you used to love to eat. And that's where it's going to get tricky. But I'll give you Noah's number and he will walk you through it. And after a few conversations, again, I thought about it for like 6 months, and then once I got into it, and I was able to chat and it took a few months to chat with the Life RX, the doctors and the people that whatever pertaining to the question that I wanted to have answered. So I'm also grateful to all of them because that's a real big team. But
Yeah.
you go on the chat in the chat little room, and you just type in, "I can't sleep. You know, I'm on GLP-1 and I'm with Life RX. Subscribed. And they pop up, and they say, well, try modifying the way you're eating. Maybe you'll want to sleep earlier, you know. And so I always got my questions were always answered. So I want to thank you again. I want to thank everyone at Life RX. Happy New Year, a happy, healthier 2025, not just for me, but for you and everyone else.
Thank you so much, Felipe.